Hey friends, I'm back. I want to show about the R charts. We'll look RBTC and then RUSD, but particularly RBTC chart using aurox here. I want to take us in and have a look. This is the 2-hour chart. We're starting to see some development now. We're starting to see here something forming a structure, maybe something similar to this, right? I'm not saying it's going to go down like this, down and then up and then down again here, like we did with this down, up and down. I'm not saying anything like that. What I'm saying is this is a big correction. Maybe here we're looking for a big correction relative in time and space. So maybe here we're going to be taking big moves up and down, and we're going to be going for some time. I don't know. Again, this is Bitcoin chart, right? Next time Bitcoin pumps, who knows where this is going. However, I've taken the liberty of drawing some lines and stuff like that. I did want to mention that we pierced up so this is the 2-hour chart, R BTC. Before we go in, I want to talk about this first. Right, I'd mentioned earlier about, it takes you right back where you were, okay? Well, we want, instead of pirate chain, we want BNB. You want to just take a quick look back, like today, BNB, wow, 500 bucks. They have a similar total supply. I'm not saying anything about comparing R and BNB in terms of price or anything like that. I'm just trying to look at long-term growth, development, and also mainly how, look at this massive price move up down here. Okay, if we go to the maximum chart, and this is the maximum chart of Binance. We'll get rid of the Ethereum pair. Okay, and so this, the orange is Bitcoin chart, and then the blue is the dollar chart. Now, in terms of the Bitcoin chart that we're looking at here, this is in early 2018 when things went bear market. Look what BNB did. It went up very nicely, and then it had its retracement during the rest of that. So during that first 6 months between January and July, it was going up nicely, and then it retraced back down until the 2019 movements, and it was this year that it broke those 2019 highs, right? Well, if we take down here the time scale and we come down, firstly, let's say we come down to here, to up until 2019. So this is all up until 2019. We can see we started back here and we went up and then we came back down, but we never really made it all the way back down here. And that's kind of the point that I'm making. So we don't know where we are even here. So what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze in even closer. So here we are until May of 2018, right? About that top. And so that was that up movement. Well, let's go even closer in. Let's try and find this movement right here. We're looking for this movement right here. Okay, so at some point, you know, it had made some moves down here. Back here, they looked big enough. And then it went up and it found its plateau and it never really retraced all the way. That's kind of the idea that I'm thinking here for Pirate Chain. I'm not saying it will happen by any means. Who knows? Not I, for sure. But if we are looking at something like this with growth that doesn't really retrace back, growth in price, let's say in value and esteem. So something to think about, right? So now we're going to go back to that chart, and we're going to recognize that we're still in that very, very early stage of things. And so we're looking at a 2-hour chart. We'll get into a full screen mode. Wow. So we're expecting more down. We're expecting more down, right? Yes, we are. And I've taken the liberty of drawing some lines, some trend lines and stuff, but I want to talk about the market structure. So we broke through, I had mentioned this Bollinger Band up here, and then we quickly came back down and went sideways a bit until we reached a connection with the 20 period average, which is a 20 moving average for the 2 hour, broke through it, trying to find some support here. And then, I mean, my guess is we're either on a bigger scale, we're going to go up and then back down again, or we're just going to keep going down a bit, maybe up and then down again. Not quite sure where we'll land. Okay, that's if this is a longer correction in Bitcoin. Now, the other possibility is that it's a move down, correct, and then right back up. If I'm making a guess, just structure-wise and generally speaking here, I think we're going to take a breather. I don't think we're making, in Bitcoin terms, I don't think we're going further. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't know really. So on this charting tools here with the trading view tools, you can hide all your drawing tools. I already made some drawings. Oh wow, that's a lot of noise, isn't it? The reason being, I did the another retracement with the Fibonacci's. So if you look here, okay, the 61.8 fib retracement line here, okay, is roughly where we hit twice now. So this is a 2 hour. Now that's why I wanted to show you this, because on the 4 hour and the daily, it doesn't look like this. There's not this much development, but on the 2 hour there is. So we're going to see what this development plays out to be. It looks like either. So the first line I drew here, let me just explain these lines that I drew for you. First line is the biggest, longest trend line, which starts basically at the takeoff of this impulse move, and it leads to here, right? So that's that one. Oh, sorry, it leads to here. It's the lowest one. My fault. It's the lowest one. It's the lowest trend line here, and then the middle trend line comes through this line of action. Okay, comes through this line of action here. And then we have these orange ones, which are a bit more short term. So the orange ones here, either it starts from this single impulse move here, and it connects, and that's where we are right now. We're fighting there. I'm imagining we're eventually going to come down. Maybe we bounce up and then come down. Who knows? Maybe bounce up, come down, and then go higher. All of these can potentially form some sort of channel, because if you notice, I drew these later, right? I drew these later, okay? But let's just look at a technical feature here. I drew these trend lines later, but if you notice here, if we had drawn these technical lines earlier, before all of this up movement, we would have found ourselves this resistance line here based on these touches here and these touches here, right? And based on this one trend line, which basically follows this pattern, by the time it touched here, and then touched here, and then this body of this candle down here. I mean, these are rough touches, they're not exact, but we could see some triangle forming here with the horizontal resistance and the uptrending support. And then it broke through there and kept going higher. So interesting to see that after the fact, we have this pattern that played itself out into a move upward. Now we have reached this peak here and we're coming back down. So where are we going? Well, a couple of options, right? One option is from here, we either bounce where we are now from this this level here, or we take it down a little bit further, back to the 618 again, meander our way through, because either we have this small pennant here that we break out of or break down of. But if we break down, then we're still in this bigger pink pennant here, with this horizontal support region formed by the previous resistance, and now this this wick down. Although again, this exchange, who knows? But it's interesting that this wick down is significant to this price level. Interesting. And so we've got this structure playing out. So we're imagining it's going to come back down. So, you know, get your dry powder ready and all that. We don't know where things are going, but we are trying to pay attention. Oops. And make some decisions. So either we are going back up, and we can make that argument. We need to look at a bigger time frame, or maybe just in the short term, we're going back up and then maybe we're going back down. Okay, now will we stop at this trend line or this trend line? I think overall, ultimately, we're going to stop down at, we are going to have to break at least this trend line here. Even this trend line here, we probably have to break it in order to create a new wave. If we don't break this trend line here, okay, let's get rid of this arrow. If we don't break this trend line here, then in fact, this move is actually still intact and we're still in the same impulse, in my opinion, because if we look at this large impulse move here, so let's change this color, okay? Because 2 oranges is not, oops, that's not what we want to change. This one we want to change. 2 oranges might be deceiving. Let's make it a big bright red. Okay, so this big bright red, if we don't invalidate, like the wick is whatever, but the body candle, if we don't invalidate it and we continue higher, in fact, we are, in my opinion, still following the same impulse, and we haven't broken this impulse yet. But it just doesn't look like that. It looks like we are going to break down further, which is fine. But really what's going to tell us that we have our new impulse wave is either when we break this orange one down and then continue higher and eventually break this, or we break even further down below this first pink uptrend line, break down below that, find support hopefully at the lower trend line and move up higher there. One of the two. And if we are at that lower trend line, then we're moving down towards the 786 Fibonacci retracement. You can see it over here, this region here, by the time we get down to this support, trend support. And you know, otherwise we're pretty much gonna just hang around here. Again, like I said, we might end up like hitting up here again, and then from there we might, you know, go back down even further. Like, because in my mind, look, this is the 2-hour chart, right? Let's take the 4-hour chart. Even the 4-hour chart is starting to develop nicely, and it is giving us a nice channel, maybe a nice bull flag even, right? We don't know yet. We don't know yet, but that's kind of what's giving me the idea that this might be ready for another movement. So if we can break this red, hit the orange and come up higher, I mean, then we know for sure we've taken our corrective move out of play, but still not convinced. We look here at the 1-day chart and we see that we're only 1 candle into it. We're only 1 candle into it. We do not know what it's going to look like, but now it is showing that today this candle is significant enough. Earlier in the day, we were just kind of hovering around the top of that candle, but now we're down far enough that it's hard to say what is going to be happening, right? But it does seem like we're making some sort of move here. I'm going to guess like a down move, find some support somewhere, bounce back up, and then from there probably come down. And then look, that only takes us, interestingly enough, this arrow takes us to May. Like, this is just for the end of the month, right? And that's just barely 10 days, not even, right? So on the 2-hour, we're going to get a really nice structure that plays out for sure. On the 2-hour, we're going to get a nice structure that plays out. We'll have fun watching it for the next 10 days or so and see what it leads to. Okay, so you saw on that daily chart, we're just getting started with figuring out the structure that's going to play out, right? Interesting. If you're a short-term trader, then, you know, consider where these lines are and then consider playing some bounces. Here's another thing that I wanted to mention is this smaller Fibonacci retracement. So now we start thinking on smaller time scales and start thinking about where can things go. So what we did here is we took this, I took this point of the top of the green candle here at about the 37,000 Satoshi level. I took that as the top and matched here. And then our first impulse down, our first wave down, touched all the way down here. So I used this as like an A wave down, okay? So this is one whole move down, and now the retracement back in the upwards direction, okay? We're seeing where it went. So first, it went down and just in 1 2-hour candle. Okay, here's our starting point, and it retraced all the way back up to here at this 786 retracement level. You see that? Okay, interesting, because notice, sorry, not there, down here, which is about the 0.5, okay, near the 0.5. It went beyond the 0.382 and continued in the next candle up to here. So ultimately, the move went from here down to here, which is the one, and then to retrace it from down here back to where it reached was 61.8%. So that's an interesting thought. Next time that you see things like a big down move, you know it's going to come back at some point. So if you're making short-term trades, these are ideas you can use, wherein you obviously have to be paying more attention. And of course, this is not advice in any way, but you can see that, yeah, if you're watching come down here and you can pick some up down in these areas, maybe you already have orders set as it's coming up here, you're just having orders set, and you're picking something up and you're retracing it back to about 61% and you let go of it. And then you see it came up to 61.8, it came back down, up and down. Now we are here making some waves. And I do believe that we are going to continue lower. I do believe we are going to see this red invalidated. For it to pass through in this direction here, I think would be showing a lot of strength. That's really strong in my opinion. But let's see, maybe pirate ship is that strong. And I just wanted to show on the daily what we might see, or even the 4 hours, what we might see. I mean, is this really going to play out with a proper 5-wave movement? We don't know, but we did say earlier that this was like the first wave, right? And then the second wave, and now this third wave. And for this third wave, I mean, unless, is this the third wave? We don't know. And then this is the 5th wave. If that's the case, expect some long retracements in the Bitcoin chart, okay? Some long retracements. I mean, we're looking, long, what is that? In crypto, 2 months is forever. So yeah, look, maybe until mid-May, June. That's only over here, right? So, hey, if we go down, 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 don't be surprised. Look, down. But if we stay up here and just kind of go down here and then up here and then down here and then up here, maybe a bit down here and then go, or whatever it looks like, maybe we're not getting down past the even the 10,000 Satoshi level or the 9,000 Satoshi level. We don't know. We don't know, but we're going to find out. And I hope that you learned something here. One thing's for sure, have some patience, take a look at where things are, make sure that you're comfortable with the decisions you're making. And if you're making a decision to buy something that you think is at a good price, then be willing to go to sleep at night feeling comfortable and not stressed out. Okay, that's about it for that. Let's quickly look over at the USD chart. Ooh, all right, we are almost done with this, okay? If you're still watching, thank you for your patience and your interest. Oops, what did I do there? That was a mistake. ARRN, not ARRN, we want ARRR. So yeah, so still makes sense. Now, maybe, I realized something earlier too. This call that I made, not call, I don't make any calls. But maybe we will hit the 50 a lot sooner. That would be more like a proper impulse, maybe, I don't know. And you know what, based on my counting, maybe this is not a 2-wave. Maybe this whole thing was a big cycle right here, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. This is higher. This is all one bigger impulse. It must be. And so maybe we're getting to that $50 level sooner. And that would be because even though our BTC chart would be chopping around, the ARRUSD chart might pump higher if Bitcoin pumps higher. And if You know, if we're talking, maybe we're not going to get to 50 right away. Maybe it gets to 25 even, you know. These are big deals. These are big deals. So, but just like we said about the Binance chart earlier, we don't know really what's happening here. This is a development which long term is going to play itself out only slowly over time. And that's where these videos are, just to watch about it and spread some awareness about it and have fun with it. And if you're in and you're having a good time, well, good. Thanks for being here. That's going to end it for now. Enjoy the rest of your day, your night. Sleep well, eat well, and stay healthy, wealthy, wise, and or at least just keep improving on that, I guess. That's about it. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.